After showing you how to increase in peyote stitch, of course, I also have to show you how to make the decreases. And basically, it's the same, just the backwards direction, but there are some things to pay attention to. So first, just to have a counterpart, I showed you a slow increase here on the left-hand side, and now I'm working the slow decrease here on the other side. And to make that a little bit more clear, I will demo this with beads in another color in the decrease part, because otherwise it's easy to lose the track here in that position. So you see, I was marking my middle position with that one blue bead, and the next row of my peyote stitch is again just adding beads. So I just add the other two blue beads. The decrease is just taking place in one row, if you like, yeah, so but it's just the other way around, so I show that with the colors. Now I'm just finishing my row. You see, I was just adding beads in each position, but the middle beads will be the ones that we pull together in the next row. And then you can already see the little problem with decreases versus increases. Now when I come to the middle part, I will have to pass through both blue beads without adding a bead in between. And this means that I really have to pull my thread tight to get these two beads together. So here you see I'm folding that whole structure to bring the two beads closer together. But there's always a little bit of counter tension. And then I keep going for the rest of the row. And just make sure that you don't lose your tension. So just bend it a little bit in the center, fold it a little bit, and when you keep going. But this is also showing you the main issue with increases versus decreases. The decreases sometimes have a different tension than the increases. In the increases, you squish beads in between beads that are very tight, very close next to each other. And so it's hard to get the beads in between. So you have a rather high tension. And when you make decreases, your tension might be a little bit lower. So that's something that you have to pay attention to. You see, we're just adding a single bead in the position where there were the two beads. In this way, I made out of 3 beads, 1 bead in that middle position. So I reduced it by 2 over this number of rows. And the point is, when you have a chance to zip things, sometimes it's easier if you just do 2 pieces with an increase and then just zip them together. It's not always working, but if you can do that, that's an alternative to really have a perfect tension in all parts, and that the increases and the decreases are really looking the same. But not every pattern is allowing that, because sometimes it's making things too complicated in the entire structure. Now, this was the part with the decrease, with a slow decrease for the first. See here, it's a little bit more open on that one side, but otherwise the zipping thing is always a technique that's working. Now, let us have a look how we can do things with a faster increase. So I'm just joining like 2 pairs in a row here. That's my starting part here. And then I will just end this part, because otherwise it's like making a stupid opening in the center when I make the decrease as the direct counterpart. So I would just end this increase thing with a single increase here in the middle, and then I will complete my row, and we go from there. When you remember that when you make these fast increases, you really have to pay attention that you add the beads left and right of your increase, because things are getting a little bit tight. Now, you see I continued a little bit with my row, and now I will add the beads for the counterpart. First, of course, I add my middle bead in the other color. So I'm just swapping the colors here and take the pink bead in the center. And then I make the following rows of course, here the next row then is the bead here. I'm just going back again. So the next row is the position where I'm adding a blue bead left and right of my middle bead. That's all just still in the correct bead count. Sorry that I'm so here in the lower corner, but it's going to be better. Now, when I make my turn on the other end, and then I come back to the middle, and now I have to pull these two beads together in the next row, of course. So I will add a blue bead before, pass through the two blue beads, because we have two pink beads on the other side, pass through the two blue beads, add one more blue bead. So I was pulling the two beads in the middle together. Now I'm finishing my row, and you see I really have to hold these pieces in the center together, because otherwise my tension would be a nightmare. Then you turn around again, go back to the middle, and then you pass through the two middle blue beads at once again. We had two double increases on the other side. We make two double decreases here now. We finish that row, and when we go back again, of course, we will add one single bead in the middle where there has been where there have been the two blue beads in that center position. This is something where you see you have this massive decrease here, so you really have a very pointy end in the middle of your row, and it's very important that you hold the tension tight and pull the thread tight. You see here the turn with the odd count in the row on the one side is helping you to increase the tension, because you make this egg-shaped turn there. It's way more difficult to hold the tension from the other side, where you have the easy turn on that end. Now, you see here, I have my double decrease on this side as well, and all the beads are in the same position as in the increase part. And so you had a little bump in the first place with the slow increase, and here we have a really pointy end in the middle of a flat peyote piece. And of course you can use things like this for bracelets or whatever. You can still embellish something on the top. So that's a very fine technique that we have here. I hope this was interesting to you, and see you soon next time. Bye-bye.